Good morning and welcome to WHIO Reports, the community service of News Center 7. I'm Jim Oddie. Today in the program, a long-running Miami Valley tradition returns. It's the RISE Student Investment Conference at the University of Dayton. The event's a big one, bringing top investment strategists and business leaders right here. They come from all over the nation. They're coming here to the Miami Valley. Now, in this half hour, we'll meet the people working behind the scenes to make this a success. We'll also be talking about the local economy, how students here are getting involved in this event. I want to meet our guest now. David Kudla is the CEO, CIO of Mainstay Capital Management. He's the RISE 13 Executive Director that puts him in charge. Emilee Wood, the student at University of Dayton, marketing and entrepreneurship major, very involved as well. And A.J. Ziegler, the finance and economics major. First off, welcome to the program. I know how much work has gone in to make this a success year after year after year. So, David, how did you get involved with this event?
Well, I work in the industry, an investment management industry, and I was asked to speak at RISE 2 years ago. And I was very impressed with what I saw and wanted to get involved.
And I've been there, and what's so amazing about this is so many people throughout the industry coming together all in one place at one time. That's a bit of a trick because people are busy. They're traveling the country in their business as it is. But you went from being a speaker now to heading this up. And how did that happen?
I got involved after speaking that first year in helping to bring in some corporate partners to help fund, help underwrite the conference so we could do more things. And that went very well. President Dr. Curran, president of the university, asked me last year to take it on this year and run the program. Now, it's important to note that this is run by the students. This is a student investment forum, but the executive team helps with the planning and to bring in speakers and sponsors and things like that.
Emilee Wood, I want to bring you into the discussion now. So at some point, probably as a new student, you came to the University of Dayton and said, I maybe heard about this RISE thing. Students quickly learn what a big deal this is. Your impressions of it.
Exactly. AJ and I both worked together in the Davis Center, and as freshmen, we were really exposed to the RISE conference. I think after working behind the scenes, we realized what a unique opportunity it is and how it really puts the University of Dayton on the map. And that's one of the reasons that we both wanted to continue to be really involved in that unique opportunity. Okay, now your area of expertise, you're seeing yourself, I can imagine you're in the audience for a couple of years and you see all of these, I call them financial gurus. These are the people who are writing the books, appearing in the programs, people like David who are on national broadcast level saying, well, in a couple of years, that could be me. I could be there. I could be doing this. Is that what goes through your mind? Yes, it's definitely an honor to meet and network with these people. I think that they always have a very interesting perspective to take on the markets and the economy overall. And it's very, very neat opportunity to be able to sit back and hear the thoughts of the top financial minds in the nation. Okay, so A.J. Ziegler, I could just see you as well. You're sitting there next to Emilee and say, well, I could do that. I could run a multi-trillion-dollar investment firm. Sure, I could do that. Or maybe not. I don't know. Is that your goal?
Maybe someday in the future, but for now, RISE is just a great opportunity to really learn from leaders in the industry who manage trillions of dollars, literally. I know one of our speakers, Rob Capito, the president of BlackRock, their firm manages $3.5 trillion under assets. So to be able to not only hear from them, but to get involved in the forum, be able to ask questions to them, rub shoulders with some of the leaders of the industry is an excellent opportunity for students.
So let's talk, maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, David. What is the RISE conference? This is coming up this spring here at the University of Dayton. You bring business leaders in investing from all over the country now together for a couple of days, and it is a fantastic opportunity for students to learn and for people in the industry. You must get a lot out of this also. You get to see each other for the first time in person.
Yeah, absolutely. RISE, Redefining Investment Strategy Education. The conference is a student conference that occurs over 2.5 days at the University of Dayton. The first day is when all of these speakers come in from the industry, and there are keynote speakers, panel discussions, and what's neat about RISE, it's interactive. Students will ask. We will have our first ever Federal Reserve Presidents panel. We'll have 2 Federal Reserve presidents there that students will be able to ask them questions about Fed policy, one of the most important forces, one of the most important dynamics in the financial markets today.
One of the things that's interesting is that the University of Dayton is an opportunity to really position the university to say, look, we are a leader in creating the investors of the future. Emilee Wood, when you think about that, you look around among your classmates and say 3, 4, 5 years from now, we're going to be leading the financial world to some extent.
Yes.
What do you make of that? It's a big responsibility.
It definitely is a big responsibility, but I think it's conferences like RISE that really inspire and kind of motivate students to take that opportunity in their business world. So I think that elements like RISE are really important to developing well-rounded students who, after seeing a speaker, they may decide that that is the career path that they would also like to go on.
So what do the students actually get to do? I know that David's group, yeah, you provide some leadership and some direction, but this, as you said, literally is a hands-on conference done by students. What do you get to do?
We get to do a little bit of everything, so setting up the stage, meeting the speakers, doing a lot of phone calls to try to get people to come to RISE. We really do everything with the conference. We also are a liaison between administration and the students and the university, trying to get them involved and to volunteer for RISE. So honestly, we have our hands in everything during the conference.
And I've covered this in the past, and AJ, I wanted to ask you, one of the things that came up in a previous story, this is probably about 4 years ago, and it was something in an interview. I'm interviewing one of the students there, and he said, you know, I never really thought I would get to meet one of the rock stars of the industry that I'm going to be spending my life's work in. I never really thought of that way, but these are your stars.
Oh, absolutely are. And the companies that have come to RISE are very dominant in the industry. So from a networking perspective, from a learning perspective, it really is just a great conference to get a hands-on experience on what the industry really is.
The focus is on investing. Yes. Do you get the opportunity to actually meet some of these superstars?
Yep. So during the RISE Forum on Thursday, you can actually go up and ask a question to any of our panelists, which is a phenomenal opportunity to ask whatever you want, what the students are really thinking about the markets and the economy. You know, you see it on the news all the time, so this is kind of students' chance and professionals' chance to ask a question to the leaders of the industry.
So what's that like? I would think it would be a little intimidating. You're a student at the University of Dayton, minding your own business, but attending this conference. You have high expectations because I think, having been there several times, they're pretty open. They're pretty available. You can actually go up to David or anybody else and say, you know what, I had this thought. What do you think about that?
It's definitely a little bit intimidating. I know at RISE I actually asked David a question, and you know, it's a little.
So you put him on the spot.
I put him on the spot maybe a little bit, but he handled it well, and it's an awesome opportunity.
How did the University of Dayton become this mecca for investing? Maybe that's a longer story, but the short version of that, David, I know the RISE has been around for more than a dozen years, but how did this become such a big deal? And it is a major focus for the university every year. Mm-hmm. How did the university develop itself, especially on investing?
Well, the RISE Forum has a long history now. This is year 13. Started in 2001. The Davis Center for Portfolio Management, the center that these students are involved in, they're actually running a fund. They're involved in this every day. And as I like to say, you know, these guys come out of the Davis Center, they're ready to take on the world, you know, when they come out. So with that focus and with the leadership from and the support from President Dr. Curran and the administration, the great people at the University of Dayton, this has just continued to grow over the years, and we are now at the point where, you know, when we talk about the scope of this year, over 200 universities and other academic institutions will be at UD Arena on April 4th.
When we come back from the break, we'll talk about what the agenda is, some of the speakers who are coming for the RISE conference this year at Dayton, and what we, the Miami Valley, get out of this conference as well. We'll be back with more. We'll take a break here in WHIO Report. Stay with us. Welcome back to WHI Reports. I'm Jim Oddie. We're talking about a big event coming up here in the Miami Valley, the annual RISE conference at the University of Dayton. The Executive Director, Dave Kudla, is the CEO and CIO of Mainstay Capital Management. We also have two students here from the university, Emilee and AJ Ziegler. And I want to talk about the RISE conference here. This is a very big deal for the University of Dayton and the Miami Valley to have the entire investing world literally focus on us come this spring. This is early in April. David, first about how big of a deal this is for the university and the Miami Valley to have all those people here and say, look, we take investing seriously, and we're now growing literally the future of investing right here. For the UD, not just the active staff and students, but even alumni, and you're one of them. That's really a feather in your cap.
Absolutely. RISE, Redefining Investment Strategy Education. This conference is a tremendous asset of the university and of the community. We have literally the top firms in investment management, in finance, broadly in business. Their CEOs, presidents, chief economists, chief investment officers will be here on April 4th. And this is a tremendous undertaking, but great for everyone in the Miami Valley to take advantage of.
This conference is open for students primarily. Students, how do they attend? How do they find you? And how do you approach them? Can anybody attend? And I want to talk about scholarships because there is a cost involved. Tell me about scholarships.
Sure. One of the programs that we've started this year is we have a limited number of scholarships to attend RISE for university level students, and also a high school student scholarship program. There's an application process, but juniors and seniors in high school interested in the area of maybe investments or finance or business as a college major can apply, and that student and a parent or teacher can attend RISE at no cost.
Emilee, what I wanted to bring you into the conversation with a question about, okay, student involvement in this. Back in the early days of RISE, this essentially was a UD student thing. But now more and more students from outside your community are coming here. So this has become very popular for business majors especially. What do you make of that? And where are those people coming from?
A lot of the students come from other universities across the United States, so it's really a great opportunity to network with those students and kind of build your own personal network, because you never know how that will pan out in the future. So I think that having that opportunity to get to meet all these students from across the nation and hear their perspectives on finance and kind of talk with them is a really great opportunity. Also, we have professionals coming from other companies. They are also able to attend the conference. So once again, just going off that whole networking idea, it's really a great thing that our conference is able to provide to students.
One of the things we talked about earlier is that interactive part of this. What is that like when you go and approach somebody, and maybe not this year because you guys are in charge of this, but go back a couple of years and say that first time when I went up and introduced myself to the CIO, the CEO of some corporation and said, hello, my name is Emilee, and I would like to ask you about X. And the response, I think, is very honest. I was actually impressed at the amount of time some of these folks are now spending one-on-one with somebody who may someday work in the industry, may not. Your impression of that? Do you remember when you went up to that first person and said, yes, I would like to talk with you about X?
Yes, I was going to say, at first impression, it was very nerve-wracking. It's gotten a little easier as I've gotten older, but definitely just being able to even have that time to go and talk to them is really unique, and being able to just have a conversation, kind of pick their brain about anything that you might have had thoughts about, things that you've learned in class that you have questions about. It's a great way to hear first-handedly their perspective on the industry, the markets, and the economy overall.
AJ, one of the things that stuck out when I covered this a couple of years ago was that, and we focused on students that come from other universities, and they said, you know, at my school, and I won't mention them, my school, there is no opportunity like this. We can't even get speakers, one speaker, to come into campus because they're busy. They travel the world on a regular basis. We can't get them to come to our campus, so we study their writings, their speeches, we watch on the internet what they're doing. This is our real one-time opportunity to see them in the flesh and be able to interact with them.
Yeah.
So you're pretty blessed to be here at UD.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're very fortunate to host the RISE Forum. And for students that come in and get this opportunity, it's also a lot of fun. You know, you get to meet students from all over the country. You get to see different perspectives from the students, professionals, the speakers. So you really get that whole round education and learning from the RISE Forum.
This is coming up in April. So, David Kudla, how do you pull this off? This is a logistical nightmare. I've seen the list of speakers. They are the A-list of the investing, the finance and business world coming here in early April. How do you get them here all at the same time? And secondly, what does it take? What kind of resources does it take to really be able to pull this all off? This is a massive undertaking.
It is a massive undertaking, and this year I'm learning even more how much of a massive undertaking it is. But we have, you know, a tremendous staff with the students at the Davis Center who are working with us, and we've even brought them forward in the process this year. We have a tremendous staff at the University of Dayton: Scylla Schindel, Peggy Nicodemus, Rob Durkel, Phil Chick, and Margaret Lesjago. Just people that are committed to making RISE very successful and working very hard in long hours to get the job done.
What happens at the conference? I went down the list of the speakers. I'm going to leave somebody out, but some of the organizations that are represented at this conference on business, investing, and finance: the Federal Reserve, Barron's, Bloomberg, CNBC, Merrill Lynch, Ameritrade, your company as well. You're talking about the cream of the crop, not just anybody you could happen to locate, say, can you stop by in Ohio for a couple of days? But I'm talking about the superstars, the real true rock stars of investing here. You go to them now after you've been doing this for now 12 years, 13 years. I think some of them that I've interviewed in the past are actually anxious to be here because this is the place to be. It's the UD RISE conference come April every year. And that, I think your reputation is now spreading throughout the industry.
Yeah, it is. I like the phrase "success begets success," and as we bring in higher profile speakers and other speakers, potential speakers, look at that and want to be a part of it. And we're seeing that process come to fruition.
Is there somebody out there you'd really like to get next year? I know that you plan in advance, long in advance. You say, so-and-so has the hot book, let's go get that person. This person has a federal appointment, we need to go get that person here.
We're actually lucky that the level of this conference and what we're doing, we had two personalities from CNBC, high-profile personalities that wanted to come, but CNBC would only allow one, so the other will come next year. I'll remain nameless, but we are doing very, very good in terms of our panelists and our moderators, the high-profile people that are coming here that'll be here in Dayton, Ohio on April 4th for everybody in the Miami Valley area to come and see and learn.
Okay, let's talk about learning. Emilee Woods, so what do students get out of this? And I've been there. You're at the arena. You're sitting in the semi-darkness. You're seeing literally all of the top people in investing across the country and sometimes around the world. They're sitting there and they're giving their. I like the interaction between them because someone will say something and they say I don't agree. They will speak right up and say, look, I don't agree. What do students get out of this?
I think the one thing that RISE really prides itself on is that it is a PowerPoint-free conference. So a lot of the things that you are hearing are candid, they're off the script, they're improv conversations. So because of that, the conversation can really go anywhere. And I think that being able to hear that first-handedly as a student, being able to ask the questions on the panel, that is really one of the great things that students can obtain by going to the conference.
Okay, AJ, your impressions. Those people sit. I don't see a whole lot of people taking notes, but I do see people listening very intently.
Maybe that's kind of the spirit of the conference. Instead of the traditional PowerPoint, take some notes, it's way more, no script and just truly what they feel. So students really want to just hear what they have to say, kind of read their expressions. So I think it's kind of a different feel than most forums or different than the typical classroom setting. It's a lot more, off script.
There are no PowerPoint presentations involved in this program this morning. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment more on the UD RISE conference coming up here in the Miami Valley when we return. I'm Jim Oddie. This is WHIO Reports. David Kudla, Emilee Wood, and A.J. Ziegler here with us this morning to talk about the upcoming RISE Student Investment Conference at the University of Dayton. This is what I call the rock stars of the investing world, coming to UD to spend a couple of days here early in April. David, if people are interested in taking part in this, to be there and be able to interact with some of these business folks, what's the best way for people to get some of that additional information?
You can go to rise.udayton.org. A lot of information about RISE there, our website, and that will tell you everything you need to know about registration, the itinerary, about the conference.
One of the interesting things about having stood there and just watched is that student reaction, especially when the first speaker comes out. It's pretty impressive. I like the way it's staged because, as you mentioned, Emilee Wood, it is not a person giving a long detailed dissertation on their take on the economy, and I think that's good. And you said you like the part about how you get that interaction and it's all literally off the cuff.
Yes, it's definitely why we pride ourselves in being a student-run conference. While the students are behind the scenes doing a lot of the actual physical work, the other students are sitting in the audience actually participating in the conference. And so I think that's where we differentiate ourselves from other conferences across the nation.
Yeah, and you said, AJ, that this actually could be fun because you look at this and you go, well, you know, I could do that. And this is my future right here. You envision yourself up there, or you're taking David's job perhaps at some point in the future? Down the road, do you have an idea what you would like to do?
I'll be working.
Maybe you'll be working for AJ.
Sure. So maybe just an example, you know, at the University of Dayton, Emilee and I are both involved in the Davis Center for Portfolio Management, where I manage a $15.5 million fund. And to be able to hear advice from some people who manage billions and sometimes even trillions, when speaking at Rob Capito, it kind of seems, wow, if they can do it, I can learn from them and hopefully, you know, accumulate that kind of funds that I can manage someday. And I think that's why the students really want to go and learn from the forum, to see that it's possible, to see the, you know, speakers, they're real people and they have great advice to give to students.
There's so many students on this campus and many others who sometimes wonder, maybe more than occasionally, do I really want to do this for a living? When you go and sit at the RISE conference, or probably stand or run around backstage, you say to yourself, yes, I definitely want it. This is very convincing. Yes, I want to do this. Is that your experience?
I guess in my case, it is my experience. I signed a job with BlackRock after graduation, so I'll be doing in their portfolio management group, fundamental equities, pretty much exactly what the RISE Forum teaches about.
Congratulations. Thanks for your time on the program this morning. We're looking forward to the UD RISE conference coming up in April. Check our website for additional information. While you're out there, I'm going to direct you to WHIOTV.com. You'll see today's top news stories, everything that's happening around the Miami Valley. We'll have complete coverage of RISE coming up in April as well. While you're on the web, go to my Facebook page, leave a comment if you like, and maybe an idea for a future program here in WHIO Reports. That's our program this morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm Jim Oddie. I'll see you next week in WHIO Reports.